Welcome to episode 3 of the Gingerlocks series. I'm going to be doing Elite Last Stand. This is in Red Fens, which is accessible via the little caravan there in House K. Before I get this started, I'm going to go over some of the gear I'm using, just to show you the choices I've made. I do have goggles of Resistance 5. Now normally I would be wearing my Concordant Opposition goggles, but not a lot of benefit there for the Warlock. I certainly don't need the spell point or the spell point proc. I don't need the Wisdom 6. There's some other goodies on there, so I probably will wear it later. But for now, I just wanted to keep the Resistance 5 there, so I didn't have to move gear around. Using Swamp Scale medium armor, the Enlightened Spirit has an option to be proficient with medium armor and gets bonuses to PRR and MRR when wearing medium armor. So that's why I'm wearing this. Got to slot up with Master's Gift and Defense 6, which boosts MRR and PRR. Got the Braces of Wind, just because that's got Permanent Blurry and Dodge 4. Very nice. Obviously, the other things on there aren't helping me. I'm not doing electrical damage. Greater False Life on the ring. Boots of Melee Alacrity 10% and Feather Falling. Got Strength 6 on the gloves. Lesser Arcane Dexterity crafted onto this ring, as well as Kinetic Lore 14%. I do have some Arcane Spell Failure because I'm using the large shield, but not really an issue because really all I'm casting of the regular spells that would be affected by Arcane Spell Failure would be like Jump and Haste. So if those fail 10-15% of the time, I really don't care. Con 6 on the belt, Charisma 6 on the cloak, Blasting Chime, upgraded this to level 11. This is just tier 1, so not fully upgraded. But the level 11 versions now got Resonance 66 and Evocation Focus 1. Very cool. The blasts are evocation based, so it helps the DCs there. And so that's got my Sonic Spell Power and Sonic Crit Chance there. Very nice item. Silver Flame Talisman. I don't need the torque on a Warlock because I don't need the spell points. So this was a good option because I don't have the Death Ward spell. I've got permanent death block and then negative energy absorption. If I get level drained or whatever, it'll pull charges off of there. And then I've got the Green Steel Mineral 2 Helm, which has 45 bonus hit points and Protection 5 and Heavy Fortification. This is the normal item I would wear right up until Cap. Went back to using the Heavy Mace. I've got it crafted with +5 Acid Flame Touch of Bleeding. And then the Dolorant Seal is a new shield. And I picked that up because it's got Radiant 60, so helping out my light spell power. And it's got the purple slot, so I got it slotted up with Impulse 54, helping my force spell power. So I have all 3 spell powers with the Enlightened Soul. You've got Force, you've got Sonic, and you've got Light damage. And I've got crits for all those except for the Light, because you can't craft Radiance Lore. Not in Caneth crafting, and not in Green Steel. And Radiance Lore items are very hard to come by in heroic levels, so I didn't really have any options for that. Let's look at the enhancements. So I did pick up some enhancements from the other trees, because for some very low cost you can get some interesting abilities. One of the cool ones here is while getting this first rank in the innate, you get +5 universal spell power and +1 damage with melee and range attacks. But I took that so that I could get the dot called Consume. This is a chaotic damage dot. So for 3 action points in the Soul Eater tree, you get a dot. So that's an awesome option to have. So I spent some points here in Tainted Scholar, and this has that first innate ability is Tainted Spellcasting. It has that Depravity counter that you can use to activate different abilities in this tree, but as it is, it kind of works like a spell power action boost. It gives plus 25 universal spell power and +2 bonus to spell DCs that last 20 seconds and has a 60-second cooldown. So as you're casting spells, you build up Depravity, and then you can use those Depravity points to activate that or other abilities in here. Now I'm not going to go any further in this tree, at least for now, unless I figure out something that makes sense. but I wanted to spend points here because I got plus 1d4 pack damage with Eldritch Blast, and that scales with spell power, and another plus 1d4 here. And in order to get up to the tier 2, I had to spend a couple points here in Eldritch Focus, which gives me some spellcraft and concentration. And spellcraft, that's a skill that does boost your universal spell power. In the Enlightened Spirit, my main tree, nothing really changed here. I picked up a point of con. Can't wait to get these tier 5 abilities. Really looking forward to level 12, which I'll be taking after this video. Alright, well, this has been completely ridiculous. I've never moved through content as fast as on this Warlock Live. It's just, the damage is ridiculous. I did over 1,000. I did 1,104 on a crit to with light damage to a shadow creature in Shadow Crypt a little while ago. That was the highest damage I've seen so far. Maybe I'll hit Vircha here with some resists. Now, if you're thinking about doing a Warlock Life, or you have to do it, and you know you got to get your completionist skin or something, do it now, because I have a feeling they're going to nerf this, or they're going to increase the cooldown times on the burst or something. You know, I was talking to one of my guildies today, and he was saying, oh, he's got to do Warlock Life to, get his completionist again. But he's not, he's putting it off because he doesn't like to play spellcasters. I said, well, you play the Enlightened Spirit Tree just like a melee. So now is the time. Don't put it off. Now is the time to knock out your Warlock lives. Oh, one of the other things I forgot to mention last video is that in my enhancements, I dumped the shield because it's not working right now. I'm still taking damage from magic missiles. I'm sure that'll be fixed soon, but at least as of right now, today is July 4th, it is not working. So I dumped that. And I didn't take the shield spell. You do have that option. So right now, if I need it, I do have wands. So this is a quest that you want to farm if you have any kind of spellcaster, because the item that drops here is the Twisted Talisman, which is you got 3 clickies of 50 spell points. And then if you want to make that epic, you can also do this quest to get the seal of the Twisted Talisman. And that's an item that I talked about in the video I did somewhat recently about spell point regeneration items. If you missed that video, I went over all of the different items in the game that are spell point clickies, or proc spell points, or generate spell points. I did miss a couple, and I appreciate the people that responded and mentioned the couple things that I missed. But I hit pretty much all the main ones. I think there was an orb that I missed. I never play with the orb, so. And it's kind of a newer one, I think. I forget the other item that I missed. But I added notes at the end of the video. He's taking a little bit of damage. There we go. One of the tier 5 enhancements is to pick up another burst, and I assume that's on a separate cooldown because it doesn't say your burst, gains these extra powers. It says, like you get this other burst, so that would be pretty amazing to have a second burst. it's already ridiculous. So having 2 bursts is going to be even more so. The last video I talked about how, I didn't really have a single target, like an insta-kill or something to pluck out casters as I approach groups of mobs. But that really hasn't been an issue because I just jump in the middle of the mobs and hit my burst and they're all dead. But I do have this thing called Dark Delirium, and that is like it immobilizes mobs for 20 seconds. There's a 10% chance that they break free when they get hit, but I'll show you what that looks like. It doesn't have any kind of animation or sound or anything, and just kind of dud in terms of how it looks. But here, I'll hit this guy here, and you can see he just stops. And then I got that dot now too, which is really nice. It's going to be, if I do turn my Sork into an Enlightened Spirit tank, then that'll be a nice way to help keep aggro. Oh, and I also picked up this spell. I had to see what it looked like. And it's called Dark Discorporation, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. It's pretty neat. Where's Bircha? Okay, so this is kind of like the bats from the vampire, the vampires that you fight. So it says, you turn into a swarm of bat-like shadows. In this form, you gain invisibility, 25% incorporeality, and damage from all sources except from untyped bane damage is reduced by 50%. Attacking enemies or interacting with objects will revert you to normal form. So let's do that. Boom, and I got these little bats flying around me, and I look invisible. It's kind of neat. Well, let's see if we can triple stack. I'm going to turn my aura off. I'm going to triple stack it, see what kind of damage we're doing to this Joker. And he's probably going to be dead before I do. 310, that's double stacked. Well, didn't get the triple stack on there, that's alright. I'll try to show that in another video. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions about my videos, you can respond on YouTube. And if you happen to be on Saralona, you are welcome to send me a tell.